Hello, welcome back, Steve's Retirement Corner. Final Expense Friday, record keeping. Hey man, I was gonna make this video about important papers like your will, power of attorney, and advanced medical directive, junk like that. But everybody knows how important that is, man. That stuff is extremely important, and it can be a lot of help to your loved ones when the time comes that they need to get a hold of them. Some people use the trust. It doesn't make no difference to me what you do. I think it's a good idea to get a hold of a lawyer and discuss it with him and see what works best for your situation. But and those were a lot of help to us, having all three of them things. Mom and Daddy didn't have the advanced medical directive, but we really didn't need it. Thankfully we didn't. The need really didn't arise for either one of them. But down there can be a big help to your loved ones. But the thing that was a big deal to us while we was going through the whole thing was record keeping. It's like your will and power of attorney and all that stuff. I mean, it does no good if anybody know where it's at. Make sure people know where it's at. Have a designated spot somewhere or something. And it's the same goes for all the record keeping. Years ago, well, a couple years back, man, I don't know if it was before I retired or that first year I retired, I talked about for Mom and Daddy, I had them write down all their medicine, dosage, doctors, what the medicine was for, junk like that, anything they were allergic to, that come in real handy for, if they had to go to the hospital, if they went to a new doctor, that's the first questions they always ask you. They might not tell them, and I wouldn't have no idea if I didn't have a record of it wrote down. I had bought a spiral notebook and give it to them and had them write it down for each other. And Mama put it in a purse, an old purse she had, and hung it on her closet door. Everybody knew where it was at. If anything was to come up, you just grab that pocketbook and go. And it was all right there together. Somebody had sent me a comment on that email, on that video about, and I thought it was great, man. Once again, I got way more out of this daggone channel than anybody would get from me, and way more than I ever expected. Because this is something we started to implement ourselves. But he'd gotten a 3-ring binder like you had in school, and he had specific instructions about everything down in there. Not only about his will, didn't have a copy of his will and all that stuff in there, but he also had where's all his accounts were at, how they were, what names they were under, how to access them, contact information, junk like that. And that would have come off big for me and Mom, me and Tam dealing with Mama. It wasn't such a big deal with Daddy because everything just went straight to Mama. It wasn't that big a deal. But Mom being the last one to die, it would have been a big help if we'd have had some kind of record of all that, a place to go for that stuff. Thankfully, I went with them for their financial reviews every year, so I knew where the amount of money was. I knew what accounts and stuff they had. Same for the bank accounts. And but what got me was that Mama had her bank accounts TOD or POD, transfer on death or pay on death. And you have to have a death certificate to get any of that. The money stops growing in her name technically and starts growing in your name, but you can't actually access any of that until you have that certificate of death, which wasn't that big a deal, man. I could pay for everything, and then I just get it reimbursed from her account, that CD she had for her funeral and everything, final expenses stuff. But for years, her and Dad wanted me to be on one of their accounts. But I'm real funny about money, especially other people's money. As long as they're competent to handle it, I don't want nothing to do with it. I just don't. If I make a mistake with my money, I can deal with it. If I make a mistake with somebody else's, it would bother me forever. I couldn't handle that. And I tried to get them to put my sister's name down on it, or either I had a niece, I wanted them to put her down on it, but they wouldn't do that. So you got to be careful about how you title your accounts. Check your beneficiaries. Keep an eye on your beneficiaries. We always review them every year when we go for a financial review. We go twice a year, every 6 months. And we always double check that. I had a buddy of mine, his dad was married before he married his mama. And he had a life insurance policy on there. And he had designated his first wife as his daggone beneficiary, and he never did change it. Whether he overlooked it or whether he just he wanted to leave her that money, I don't know. But that boy could have used that money at that time to help with things. And he was sure that lady was going, she didn't need the money. He said, she'll give it to me. Never happened. Be sure and check on them beneficiaries. But having that 3-ring binder, with your health information in it, your medicines, your doctors, contact information, allergies, all that stuff, your dosage, having your financial records, where your accounts are. It's no time to be a secret. How they're titled, how to access them, phone numbers, all that junk. Have a section for that. Have a section for anything you think that can help somebody if you're not there. And let more than one person know if it's all possible. If something was to happen to Tam, how am I going to know what she knew? You know what I mean? If she knows where all the medical records are kept at and I don't, but I happen to be the one to run mom or daddy to the hospital, how am I going to fill them in? You can never tell. And the same for me. If just because I know where the accounts are, if something happens to me, there's no way she's going to be able to know to be able to handle something like this. So let more than one person know, if at all possible. Keep it in a secure place. I downloaded a form from Motley Fool years ago. Talked about what kind of papers to get, where to store them at, whether you can store them at the house, whether you need to get a safe deposit box or whatever. Let people know where you keep that paper so they can access it when they need it. Let more than one person know about it, just as a backup, man. Anything can happen, Doc. And bill paying. Mama still had bills to pay after she died. Most of her stuff was taken automatically. It was automatically deducted from her account. But some stuff she only paid once or twice a year, like her taxes for the car or the house, or gas. Had a gas stove. That stuff she paid whenever it come time. It's important to know where those what they owe, who they owe to, what it's for, stuff like that. You can have a record of that in there, of your bills, your money outgoing that you pay every month, how it's paid, what account it comes from. That's a big help. For those things, luckily we had Mama's checkbook. I could just look back in 3 or 4 months and I could see on her record book where it was, how it got paid. Whether it was automatic draft or whether she'd send a check in. Because there's a lot of stuff that has to be canceled and transferred into your name and stuff like that. Record keeping is highly important. And also, if you happen to be the executor, it's important to keep records of every day on the thing you do. It prevents somebody from questioning you later on. They can question all they want, but you got the records for it. It's real important for that too. But having that notebook, I think, would be a lifesaver for a lot of people. you're not thinking right, man. You're in a rough situation, and any help you can get with something like that is a tremendous help. Tremendous help. I don't know. That's about all I can think of right now. But I remember the TOD and PODs. It was important, but it can be a hampering to you too for a few weeks. Checking your beneficiaries, getting all your information together and putting it in a notebook is going to be a game changer for a lot of people. It's a one-stop shopping for people. It can be a big help. Where your records are at, letting people know, letting multiple people know where to keep them at, where your accounts are at, how everything's labeled. Any kind of information you can come up with it is a big help. And that's what we're going to do. We're still going to have the TOD and POD, but we're going to have, we'll also have probably an account that's in one of the kids' names with one of them on there with us, just so they can access something to help with their final expenses, like maybe that CD for funerals and stuff. And one other thing is, I get reminded on here from time to time from somebody that be careful about the snake in the grass. Man, a death can bring out the best in people, but it can also bring out the worst in people. And I've seen it happen, man. Squabbling over $100. I'm telling you, man. Just be careful, because if you get a sibling that tries to run over things, it can cause a lot of families break up over it, and it can be a financial hardship for others. For me and Tam, we're the only two. I didn't really care about whatever mom and daddy had. I actually wanted them to spend everything they had, but you know how it is for that older generation. They're tight. So, and they wanted to leave something for me and Tam, so, I can understand that. I never thought about leaving a legacy. I didn't think I'd have anything left to leave them, to be honest with you, until I retired. But be careful of that. We didn't have much trouble. Well, we didn't have any trouble, to be honest with you. Pretty much I let her run the show. I was fine with everything. So it's, I don't know, record keeping's important. I learned a lot through that, going through the process about what worked and what didn't. And we're making changes to our stuff now. So, I don't know. But anyways, man, y'all take care of yourselves. Enjoy your weekend the best you can, and we'll talk at you later.